I call to order the meeting of the Common Council for Tuesday, September 19, 2023. Clerk?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. We have 10 members in the chamber, 10 members in civic clerk, 2 members, Alders Brunette and Galvin, who are excused.
All right, thank you, Clerk. Now please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for an invocation led by Alder Grant. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Today I invited Pastor Mark from Celebration Church located in my district. Pastor Mark is a renowned American speaker, author, and relationship expert known for his humorous and insightful approach to marriage and family. Mark has dedicated his life to helping couples navigate the complexities of relationships and build strong, lasting marriages. Mark is known for his Laugh Your Way to a Better Marriage seminars. With that, I'd like to welcome Pastor Mark.
Thank you. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, God of justice and mercy, we thank you for the gift of life and the opportunity to serve the people of our city. Help us to act with character and conviction. Help us to listen with understanding and goodwill. Help us to speak with charity and restraint. Grant to us a spirit of service. Remind us that we are stewards of your authority. Guide us to be the leaders your people need. Help us to see the humanity and dignity of those who disagree with us, to treat all persons, no matter how weak or poor, with the reverence your creation deserves. And finally, Father, renew within us the strength of your presence and the joy of helping to build a community worthy of the human person. We ask this through Jesus Christ our Lord, who lives and reigns with you and the Holy Spirit, one God forever and ever. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor. On to approval of the minutes.
Move to approve.
Alder Scannell makes a motion to approve the minutes from the August 22nd meeting. That was seconded by Alder Eck. Any changes? Seeing none, all in favor will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The minutes are approved. Approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Stevens. Any changes there? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the agenda is approved. Report by the mayor. Just one item here. We have a couple of new additions to our senior staff. Dave Wilkett as Director of IT, Cheryl Rainier-Wigg as our Director of Community and Economic Development. Normally we like to kind of treat the east side and the west side equally, but I think we have two East High grads before us, real Green Bay people. That's right. And a lot of decades of experience and commitment to the city of Green Bay. So obviously would not be moving forward with them if I didn't have complete faith in their ability and in their record of employment and ability to do the job moving forward. So wanted to, of course, note my endorsement and support of them as we move forward. With that, we'll move along to announcements from council. Alder Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. Just wanted to acknowledge at the end of this month, Good Neighbor Week is occurring. That is put on by NeighborWorks in conjunction with our neighborhood associations. And they are currently in need of volunteers. And so I'm sure several of us probably have properties within our respective districts that will be helped by this. And so it's really run by volunteers to help make minor cosmetic improvements to homes, maybe cleaning gutters, some roof repair, painting, things of that nature. So if you are interested, it is the week of September 24th to the 30th, a wide variety of opportunities. I encourage you to visit the NeighborWorks or Green Bay Neighborhoods website to check it out and volunteer your services if you are available.
Absolutely. Thanks for that, Alder. Other announcements? Seeing none, we will move along to appointments.
Motion to approve.
So is this a motion on reappointments? This is a motion on reappointments, Alder? This is a motion to approve the reappointment made by Alder Scannell and seconded by Alder Stevens. Further discussion on that? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the reappointment is made. On to appointments.
I would like to make a motion to take these separately.
All right.
Second.
All of the names separately? Yes. All right, there's a motion to take the names separately, seconded by Alder Eck. All in favor will signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And so the first one before us is Jenny Brinker for the Green Bay Sustainability Commission.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Stevens. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Next is Steve Cerubis for Landmarks Commission.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Stoyer. Discussion here. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. And that appointment is made. Next is Natalie Hoffman, Equal Rights Commission. Alder Stevens had a motion to approve. Is there a second for that? Seconded by Alder Scannell. Discussion?
I'd like to open for discussion.
Alder Campbell.
Since I see Miss Natalie's here, wondered if she could ask a few questions. Reason being, she's a member of the Democratic Socialist Party of America, and I have a little conflict with that in working with the city. She's protested quite a few things that were passed lately. And I'd like to find out if she's actually a member of that, if we can open the floor for her to take the thing. I'll need a second.
Is that a motion to open the floor?
Motion open.
Yes.
Second.
Motion to open the floor made by Alder Campbell, seconded by Alder Scannell. All in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and the floor is open. Ms. Hoffman.
Hi, thanks so much for having me here to speak. I am really excited for the opportunity to be a part of the Equal Rights Commission, and I appreciate you bringing your concern forward. I will say that, yes, I am a proud member of the Democratic Socialists of America, but our main mission is essentially to bring a greater amount of equity to the people that we serve in our community. The reason that we do things like protest is because we feel that we are seeing violations of rights happening, like when Roe v. Wade was overturned. We believe that that was a violation of human rights, and so those are the things that we speak out against, which is incredibly important for me as somebody who is coming to the Equal Rights Commission. The Equal Rights Commission was made so that we can fight for rights and justice for every single person in our community. That includes, especially people in our marginalized communities. And I want to be a voice for those people who are disproportionately impacted by things like that come to our communities. Especially, those things touch every one of our lives. So that is why I would like to be on the Equal Rights Commission.
Thank you so much for your comments and your willingness to serve. Follow-ups, Alder Campbell?
No, first of all, when you're going door to door, some people ask you about abortion and what you think about it. The city council here and the decisions we make here have nothing to do with that. We can't really take a side on it. We can personally say it, but I don't think it's in our position. And I don't think you would represent that very well that way. I would ask if,
Alder Campbell, is there a question for Ms. Hoffman?
that's what I was saying, I would ask why you didn't do the Pledge of Allegiance here tonight.
I believe that sometimes different marginalized communities are misrepresented, so I will stand in respect for the flag, but that is something that I have chosen to not partake in because I do not feel that all communities are often fully represented.
Counting today, I've seen 2 other times other than today that I've seen you literally giggling at it in the back, and I witnessed it. I didn't appreciate that. We're all here to work under the Constitution, and the flag is part of our Constitution.
I apologize for that, and all I want is to be able to work to better serve my community and to work with all of you, no matter our differences, to be able to serve the community in the best capacity that we can.
Any other comments or questions? Alder Grant?
Ms. Hoffman, are you aware that the DSA on their website supports repeal local ordinances to criminalize people involved in sex trades?
No, I was not aware of that.
Okay. Are you aware of the 2 ordinances we just passed, the hotel registry ordinance and the spa ordinance that kind of
Yeah, I
serves-
was aware that those were going on.
So do you support repealing local sex trade ordinances?
I do not, I do not feel educated enough to give you a full answer on that, so that is something that I am absolutely going to look into.
Okay, and then also on the website, I noticed they stand for defunding the police to completely $0. Is that something you support?
I believe in investing in more equitable ways of public safety. So I would support things like, I would support things outside of necessarily investing in our police that would also improve public safety.
Okay, thank you.
And just as a note, we don't have a political litmus test for those that we appoint to our city boards and commissions. People who are interested in serving and are well-intentioned in their motives are people that we want to have appointed to these positions. I've appointed, people who don't have any political affiliation, Republicans, Democrats, Independents. So just want alders to keep that in mind. Additional questions? Alder Weary.
Mr. Mayor, radical ideas do tend to turn into radical actions. So the people we have on our committees and commissions are important for what they bring forward. That is very important. And it is our right as the council to, approve or not approve of any of your recommendations. So, and Ms. Hoffman, thank you for being here and answering questions. If you do look at the DSA's, Democrats, Socialists of America, their website and the things that they stand for that you, I think, said you're a proud member, you proudly stand for. Do you believe then the extension of voting rights to non-citizens?
Yes, they are members of our community.
Okay, thank you. And then the defund the police, it actually goes in to say that the police should actually work towards a zero budget. Do you believe that they should have no funding whatsoever as stated?
I have no comment on that at this time.
So yes, usually silence is assent, okay. Do you believe in ending all misdemeanor offenses, all of them?
I do not feel educated enough to make a full statement on that right now.
How about freeing all people from involuntary confinement, i.e. prison?
I believe that we need to find better ways of justice in our communities.
I think we all can agree to that, but do you believe in freeing all people from involuntary confinement?
Do not feel educated enough
Okay.
to give a full
Fair enough.
statement at this time.
How about disarming law enforcement officers? That's another one of their tenets.
Alders,
believe that?
this is not an inquisition.
I'm asking so that we know the ideas that are going to be coming to this
Can
committee.
I ask a question? How is this relevant to me being on the Equal Rights Commission?
Right. My next question is, do you believe in extending and expanding sanctuary protections?
Yes, I do.
Okay. How about passing reparation legislation?
I do not feel educated enough to be able to give a
All
full
right.
statement.
I mean, there's probably 20 pages of here that I could go
Yeah,
on with, but
and I am working on
Thank you.
educating
I
myself on this
appreciate your
issues every
answers.
day. Yeah, thank you.
my concern is there an adherence and a desire to advocate extremist views on a city commission? And I think we've heard that there is. So I will be voting no.
All right, any other questions from city council? Yeah, Alder Hutchison.
Hi. It's kind of interesting that there seems to be a gang up here. And it's for a committee that looks after those who don't have a voice in the city. It's a very narrow award to that commission to work on housing. All these questions had nothing to do with housing, okay? So you could bang this drum and all this, but I believe she's. Okay. Would you be willing to work with the Equal Rights Commission to work on housing for those who don't have a voice?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alder. Any other questions from council? Seeing none, thank you so much for coming up to the podium and answering
you.
questions, and more importantly, your willingness to serve. Motion to close the floor made by Alder Eck, seconded by Alder Scannell. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The floor is closed. We have a motion to approve. Alder Scannell.
I'm a little shocked. I mean, we say, how many times do we say, even with this council, diversity's good. We want different views.
Alder Scannell. Mike.
Thank you. Yeah. I see nothing here that disqualifies this person, even if they were someone who came forward was, who I consider very extreme, and I know there are council members who fit into this category, a supporter of Trump. We do not select people. People have the right to assembly. That's a constitutional right. You're going to say they don't have the right to be associated with any group they want to form? That's a mark against them? Secondly, she's one member of a commission. They have no authority. We're the authority. She's going to give her voice among many voices. They're going to come forward with proposals for us. We decide what we're going to do. She has zero authority. So what you're saying is her viewpoint, her perspective, and her associates are unacceptable? I find that unacceptable. I don't see how that's defensible in any size, shape, or form. That's what you're saying. I'm talking.
Alder Campbell.
This does seem like an attack, but beyond that, it seems completely without any foundation. We do not put a litmus test to people coming forward. What's next? I mean, actually, I met with Ms. Hoffman a week ago to talk about some other things, and we actually talked about this subject, and I was interested in it. I may join. That doesn't mean, like I'm sure it is true, being a Democrat, that I believe in everything that's on the Democratic platform, and I'm sure there are many things, if we went through the Republican platform, some of the Republicans here would not support. It's nothing. I just find this entirely wrong. There is no litmus test, political litmus test, to serving in a nonpartisan position. And we're all nonpartisan here, including Ms. Hoffman. Thank you.
Thanks, Alder. Alder Eck.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, I appreciate anybody that's willing to step up and serve, but I just would like to see a more balanced Equal Rights Commission, and in looking at the background and the organization and that she belongs to, it does affect your decisions, and everything that was listed today seems very extreme. You know, wanting the police to be defunded to zero, that's extreme. So I would vote no, because I think we need a more balanced commission, all of our commissions. Thank you.
Thanks, Alder. Any other comments? Alder Johnson?
Thank you, Mayor.
Alders.
Look, I appreciate the discussion and the concerns. Quite frankly, I don't agree with a lot of things that Ms. Hoffman agrees with. But at the same time, I'm not afraid of different viewpoints. In fact, I think I embrace that. And I think that's what makes our community better. And I think when we find ways to work with each other, to learn from one another, I mean, that's kind of what this commission is all about. And this body approved and authorized the formation of this commission. And it was to bring people to the table with different viewpoints. And again, I mean, I think Alder Scannell alluded to this. I'm not aware of any doctrine. I think very few people, they might say they're a member of something, but I think very few people would subscribe and say, I believe in 100% of that doctrine. I know a few people that would fall into that category. Ms. Hoffman, I think one thing I would say, if you're a proud member, certainly become equipped to be able to respond to difficult questions. I think that's something I think we all, should do. But at the same time, I haven't seen revealed here any significant character flaws that should prohibit someone from serving the city and its citizens. Like I said, I've seen a different viewpoint, and again, one that I wouldn't necessarily agree with, many of those things. And I think Alder Eck is right, too. We ought to strive to be equally represented on all of our commissions. And I think Equal Rights Commission, I'm just going to call out the elephant in the room. I mean, I think most individuals that have a desire to serve in that capacity are because perhaps they're a little bit more empathetic and understanding and wanting to help those who are marginalized and underrepresented in our community. And I think that there are probably some strong voices that could help with that and perhaps aren't represented right now on that commission. And maybe the mayor can contemplate that the next time he has an opportunity to appoint someone. But right now, barring a character flaw, not a difference in policy, but a character flaw, I'm inclined to support, recognizing that the commission has very, very little ability to do anything. I mean, I'm not even aware that they can make any type of binding decision. The recommendations that come back to us, and policy recommendations that quite frankly, we had this debate, right, when the housing study came forward, and we had the debate about do we accept that housing study or not, and ultimately this body's the one that decided that, not any one member of that commission. So I'm more inclined to support, because what I don't want to do is set a precedent that makes people not want to serve our city because they're afraid of this, what I would call a congressional interrogation maybe of folks that want to serve their city. I think this one's okay. I think the city's going to be okay, in fact, well served by someone with a different viewpoint.
Thanks, Alder. Alder Grant?
Thank you, Mayor. And I agree, I do want to encourage people to serve our city, but the point I brought up is a couple things, like I said, that we just passed, so I was very alarmed to see an organization that she proudly represents go against some of the goals of our council. And we do, while I understand we have the final authority, the point of the commissions too is to guide us and give us advice and stuff like that. And if it's counterproductive, what are we getting out of the commissions? So I just want to make sure our goals are in line, and I was, like I said, very alarmed by that stance, so, thank you.
Any others? Alder Campbell?
Twice I heard housing in here. This is your second appointment that I remember, Stephanie Guzman. And I questioned then, because the big issue was about housing. Why aren't you finding and appointing people that are a little bit more in that field, not just in equal rights, but know a little bit about housing? I think that would be some better pick for this. So neither one of your last appointments, or people that step forward, have any of that. And if that's, I agree, if that's a problem, and I think it is, we need a voice in that, not just a rah-rah, not just a, one side or the other. But I agree too, I think we need better balance there. And I think I had every opportunity. The other question I have is, why is this appointment only good till June 1st, 2024?
This is filling out the remainder of a term.
A vacancy?
Right.
Is it up to say who, what? Who? I mean, I'm not aware. We didn't get the memo on just a vacancy or to add.
Correct. What's that?
Vacancy or to add to it?
No. Somebody stepped down from the
Oh.
commission.
Okay, so you're not gonna share that? Or you don't need to? And I don't care, I just want a fact behind it all.
Right.
And then will it be up for appointment then on,
At that
after
date.
June 2024?
Correct.
Okay, that's the one thing that I noticed right away was the time on it. Most all of them are several years out, so.
Right.
That was the other question I had.
Sure. Yeah,
I
and
just, I've been at several events here lately, and I just can't, I will try, but I just, I see a lot of unbalance here, and I just can't support it. I like to see someone in the housing
Sure.
department.
Just on that point really quickly, I know that the council is most familiar with the Equal Rights Commission because of the housing report that they brought forward, but that's not their sole or primary area of focus. So we're not looking necessarily for housing experts to serve on that body. Alder Scannell?
Yeah, just if Your Honor could, perhaps, for some of the new members here, explain the process of how this works, of how you appoint someone, how that works, plays out? That might be
Sure.
edifying.
So, obviously, we have a number of boards and commissions in the city. Periodically, we put out the call that we have, certain vacancies because of, resignations or other openings that have occurred. So I make those appointments and then the council, confirms them or doesn't.
So how many applied for this position?
We don't have like a formal application
Or
process.
step forward, or-
I don't know how many we have in the hopper that have designated Equal Rights Commission as something they're interested in. I don't think there's another one in there right now, but I wouldn't want to say definitively that we don't have any others.
You just can't Shanghai someone?
Any other comments or questions?
My question off of that is how did she get picked? Who picked her? You picked her? It's your
I make the,
appointment.
I mean, I think that's fairly obvious.
I mean, did you reach out to her? Did you put a public notice out for other candidates?
Like I said, on social media, we oftentimes advertise that we have openings, and then we get responses as a result.
But not this time? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know that for sure. Alder Stoyer?
Thank you, Your Honor. I appreciate Natalie coming down. I'm sure it's not easy for her to come up in front of this body. It's not easy for anybody to testify or come up in front of this body at times. I will admit, I did read the website as well, and like I said, Alder Johnson mentioned that too, that, you don't necessarily espouse to everything a group may do, but the fact is that that website talked about defunding of the police, and I think that's the one that really bothered me a lot. So, and I don't accept that whatsoever. So regardless, she's on this committee. She's one of 7. She'll have a voice, and we're looking for people to come on board. So I do understand that, and I appreciate your efforts on that. But I do have a hard time with a couple of those things. So if I vote yay, it's basically looking at what Alder Johnson stated, allowing people to come in forward and do that. If I don't, it's because of the police situation. And there's a couple others too, but the funding is no good for me. Thank you.
Thanks, Alder. Any other comments? We do have a motion for a second time, Alder Scannell.
Yeah, again, we are picking apart people's beliefs and saying that that's unacceptable. I find that unacceptable. We all have the right to believe what we want to believe. Would we find that acceptable if we were in that spot? Would we accept that as appropriate? This is not a litmus test for politics. Stop playing politics with city business. I don't care what group she belongs to or doesn't belong to, or anybody else. It's none of my business. I'd like to know how everybody went to this website. How did that all happen? You did your research. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Alder. Alder Weary for a second time.
Mr. Mayor, it's really not just politics, it's deeply held beliefs. And so we do place people on committees and commissions based on what they believe, if we think that's a fit for our city. So this is where our role comes in. We're reminded all the time for people who are appointed, well, you guys approved of it. The mayor put them forward, but the council, you approved them. You rubber stamped it, you approved it. Get that all the time. Well, there's a little pushback now. This committee, this commission, does lean one way drastically. This pushes it even farther in that direction. It was mentioned by several people, we're looking for balance. This doesn't do that, and for that reason, I'm voting no. Very simple. Thank you.
Thanks, Alder. Do you wanna- Alder Stevens makes a motion to open the floor, seconded by Alder Scannell. All in favor will say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The floor is open. We have Barbara Dorff who'd like to speak on the appointment.
Thank you, Your Honor. Barbara Dorff, 3375 Pebble Beach Court. I'm sitting in the back of this room and thinking, this is a travesty. I live in the United States of America. This is a place where we have freedom of speech, where we can have our beliefs. As the main author of the Equal Rights ordinance, including the addition of the Equal Rights Commission. We want people on that commission who are unafraid to stand up and to represent people that are marginalized every day by certain people, some of these alders among them. Anyone here a member of the Nazi Party? I wonder. Anyone here protest on January 6th? I wonder. I think we could look at all of our personal lives and find things that we don't agree with. This is about appointing a citizen to a committee, a citizen who wants to serve her community, a citizen who has been marginalized herself, one who could be sitting at the seat of District 4. Hundreds of people voted for her to become an alder. So people, please lose your prejudices at this table tonight, in this room tonight. Consider that we have a citizen here wanting to serve her community, and you have no right to put her through that kind of, I'm not even sure what I can call what you did to her. It was like an interrogation. We live in America, don't forget that. We have a Constitution, we have a Declaration of Independence. Those of you who stand for that, people are allowed freedom of speech. That's all I have to say, thank you. Oh, I'm not sure I'm answering any questions, but you can try. Alder Weary.
Alder Weary?
Go ahead, Alder
Answer the
Weary.
question. Are you ready?
Oh, yes, I'm ready.
Alder Weary, go ahead.
All right. You know, you had mentioned, and you said it kind of quickly, are there members of the Nazi Party on the council?
I just asked a question. I wasn't implying anything, I just asked a question.
Okay. So if somebody from a Nazi background, which is horrible, I would oppose it, wanted to be on this commission with their ideas, would you oppose that?
Oh heavens, I'm not going to deal in the hypothetical, Alder Weary.
All right.
I'm simply
So
not
everyone's
going to play
welcome
that
unless-
game.
Unless they have views you don't like. Okay. I know you mentioned the Constitution, right, which is correct. Did you know that the group that Ms. Hoffman belongs to wants a new constitution?
You know what?
They want
She
to
can
rewrite it. I'm just
belong
asking you
to
a
a
question.
group.
I'm asking you a question.
I don't care
I'm
what
asking you a
that group
question.
necessarily believes about a constitution.
Hostile witness, Your Honor. I have no further.
Hostile witness, absolutely.
Any other questions for Ms. Dorf?
Motion to close the floor.
Thanks for your comments.
Thank you, sir.
Motion to close the floor made by Alder Campbell, seconded by Alder Johnson. All in favor say aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The floor is closed. There is a motion to approve that has received a second. All in favor will signify by saying aye. We can use the board.
You may vote.
Approve.
Approve. You may display.
That motion fails. Right. Well, this is a sad day for our common council. On to our next appointment, city officials, Development Director Cheryl Renier-Wigg. Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell. Seconded by Alder Johnson. Comments on the appointment? Alder Weary?
Mr. Mayor, and it's not a sad day for America, it just shows the process works. Process works, that's in place, okay? Appreciate your comment, though.
Appreciate your comment.
I appreciate your comment about my comment.
Ditto.
Back at you. Okay. Director Falls, Economic Development Director, big role, huge role. It's probably one of the most important roles in our city. Helps keep our taxes down by building our tax base. We've got a lot of areas in the city that I think we can all say need a lot of attention. And it's kind of been lacking the last couple of years. I know we had COVID, but we're out of that now. So this post, did it post externally, statewide, countrywide?
What was that?
Did this position post, did it go outside the city of Green Bay, outside just the city, to go statewide, nationwide, to see, who are the best and brightest out there that might want to bring their new and innovative ideas to Green Bay?
So I think every recruitment is different, and based on this recruitment, we decided to stick internal.
Why is that?
I think it was based upon the candidates that we had and I think the department makeup we have, we decided to stick internal.
So in your view, there's nobody better out there? There's nobody who could have come in with some better ideas? Somebody who's not used to the way we do things and say, hey, why don't you try this or that?
Well, I don't want to get into, I guess, the discussion of the person that's appointed tonight. So I think it'd be better discussing that in closed session. But I think the mayor and myself feel very confident with the appointment we have, or the mayor's appointment tonight.
I appreciate it. And it really doesn't have to go to closed session. It has nothing to do with the character of the person. Fine person, work great with this person. Nothing to do with that whatsoever. It's about this role and who might be best in it. And I think we need to search outside. I think if we're going to be honest about what we're trying to do in Green Bay, we're getting our butt kicked by Hobart and Ashwaubenon, De Pere. I think we need to look outside and bring in some other people. So I'm going to vote no. Thanks.
Thanks, Alder. Other comments, questions? Alder Scannell?
Well, I disagree with the observation that we're getting our butts kicked. Certainly, we have a lot of big projects going that have been still signed in their feet from COVID. We're still feeling that, and we're not the only community. Other communities are still feeling that. But we've got a lot going on in Green Bay. And so I completely disagree with that observation. Secondly, I've known Cheryl a long time, and I think as a person to do this job, I cannot think of anyone more qualified. I can't imagine anyone coming in with any more expertise and able to look outside the box. I've had many discussions with Cheryl where we've gone outside the box and got lost and had to call for help. But I think she's highly qualified, and I certainly support it. Thank you.
Thanks, Alder. Other comments? Alder Stoyer.
Thank you, Your Honor. I might have an unfair advantage here a little bit. I worked with Cheryl for almost 18 years in the planning office. I've known her since 1987. I think at first blush, I think there is maybe some concern that, maybe we could have looked outside too, and no reflection on Cheryl whatsoever. But with that being said, I'm fully in support of Cheryl. She has worked with me very well. She's worked with the council very well. Known her for many years, many projects. She knows the city inside out. I really feel that she will do a great job, so I do support her.
Okay. Thank you, Alder. Any other comments or questions? We have a motion and a second? Yes. We have a motion and a second. Board vote has been requested by Alder Weary. And again, this is on approval.
You may vote. Alder Eck, how would you like to be reported? Oh, thank you. May I display?
All right, and that vote is successful. Congratulations, Director Renier Wigg. We are on to public hearings. This is a resolution regarding vacation of public right-of-way, Bellwood Lane, Springdale Lane, Meadowbrook Drive, east of Hobart Drive, and one unnamed right-of-way. Is there anyone here who would like to speak to this item? Anyone here who would like to speak to this item? Anyone here who would like to speak to this item? Clerk, let the record reflect there are no members present to speak to this item. On to ordinances, second reading for adoption.
Motion to suspend the rules.
Motion to suspend the rules and take up these items with one roll call vote.
Mayor, if you could just hold on 1 second. I'm
Yes.
sorry. My computer's a little slow.
Actually, I would ask
motion to approve,
K1?
adopt number 1.
Motion to adopt K1 made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Stoyer. Alder Eck, you had comments on that?
Yes, I wanted to, I'm not on yet, okay. I wanted to make an adjustment to the wording on, in the ordinance under section 1, number 2, where it says, new intersection of extended Hinkle Street and Hobart Drive be mapped at a 90-degree angle. And I wanted to add, or by alternative traffic calming design before the word and.
Okay. Is there a second for that amendment? Seconded by Alder Weary. Did you want to speak to that at all? Explain?
Well, it was a request by the developer that, in this project,
Okay,
just to make it a little bit more open to some options.
got it. Thanks, Alder. Going to go to Director Grenier for some comments on that.
According to adopted policy that this board has adopted for traffic calming is not appropriate on arterials or collectors, is only appropriate on local, so it would not be appropriate to this street.
Got it. Yes, Alder Eck makes a motion to open the floor. Seconded by Alder Scannell. All in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The floor is open. Anyone like to speak?
Hi, everyone. Garrett Bader, 300 North Van Buren Street. The request is simply to keep all options on the table until formal design is prepared. We are not at that stage yet. This was only a map amendment. The request originally for 90-degree street, I appreciate why it was done, but it does not consider all options possible that could serve what all the neighbors, community, and the city could find acceptable. This simply leaves open all options. Thank you.
Thank you. Questions for our guest? Alder Scannell?
So perhaps a different way to word that than traffic calming? Which seems to be the stumbling block, if I understand Director Grenier correctly.
I have no concerns about that if that language needs to change. It's simply to ensure that other connections could be possible other than simply a 90-degree intersection. To be clear, it still could be a 90-degree intersection. This just leaves all options on the table.
So perhaps a 90 or other degree angle?
I would be fine with that.
Is that acceptable? I'd like to hear from Director Grenier.
Any comments on that?
90-ish.
Contemplated amendment, Director Grenier?
No, the only thing I'm looking to do is to make sure that adopted policy is followed.
It's still the same amendment.
But I would,
Alder Scannell?
oh, no, we got the floor.
Yep.
Still open.
Okay. Any other questions for our guest? Was there anything specific contemplated with traffic calming?
Certain things I think could be discussed regarding how the curve is designed if it is a curve. Again, the residents had asked for 90 degrees based on certain desires for speed control and I think, fear of speeding, racing on that street. Do not think that will be an issue anyway, but until we get into formal design, it's hard to speculate on exactly what should be limited to our options until we're able to look at that a little bit further.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else? All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Motion to close the floor made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Campbell. All in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The floor is closed. So we do have an amendment that's been offered and seconded. I believe so by Alder Weary, I think.
So, am I on?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Alder.
Okay, so with the understanding that it wouldn't go against what Director Grenier is saying, the policies, so is the word calming, traffic calming a problem? Or are there more than one, is there more than one way of traffic calming?
Director Grenier?
reading directly from the traffic calming policy that was adopted by council, it states that the city will not implement traffic calming measures or conduct traffic calming studies on arterial collector streets or Green Bay Metro bus routes. So they have to be classified by the city as residential or local streets in order to qualify for any traffic calming measures.
Got it. And Alder
Could I-
Scannell was suggesting an amendment related to the degrees allowed.
Would this work if it was or by alternative approved design? So that has still open, an open-ended to work through.
Okay. Director Grenier, that would
Is
work?
that okay? Okay, that's what I'll go with. So
Motion to, you want to make a motion to withdraw your amendment?
I'll make a motion to withdraw my original.
Alder Eck makes a motion to withdraw her amendment, seconded by Alder Campbell. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, the amendment is withdrawn.
Okay, I make a motion to amend section 1 under number 2 to new intersection of extended Hinkle Street and Hobart Drive be mapped at a 90-degree angle or by alternative approved design.
Is there a second? Seconded by Alder Stoyer. Additional comments? All in favor, will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Entertain a motion to adopt as amended. Made by Alder Campbell, seconded by Alder Scannell. Any additional comments? And we will use the board.
You may vote.
All right, and that ordinance is adopted with one abstention. On to K2.
Motion to adopt zoning ordinance number 23
Motion to adopt made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Johnson. Comments on this one? Seeing none, we will use the board.
Second. You may vote. Go ahead and split.
And that is adopted unanimously. On to the report of the redevelopment authority. Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Johnson. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That report has been approved. On to the report of the Improvement and Services Committee. Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Johnson. Items here to be handled separately. Seeing none, all in favor of the report will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The report has been approved. On to protection and policy. Motion to approve made by Alder Stevens, seconded by Alder Scannell. Items here to be handled separately.
Number
5. Any others? 5 will be handled separately. Hearing none others, all in favor of approving the remainder of that report, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The report has been approved with the exception of item 5.
I believe the applicant is here and would like to speak to council. Motion open.
Motion on the floor made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Stoyer. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The floor is open. And so this is on the application for Taste of South on Wheels. And if you could just state your name and address, and then you have 3 minutes to address the council.
Well, my name's Sarai Bowie. I live at 1311 Liberty Street in Green Bay, Wisconsin. So at this point, I'm still going forward, as I understand about the moratorium. The last meeting, I'm trying to make the business fit that, whereas I have to have food and liquor, and so not just a bar, because I was gonna have the food truck outside. So I'm still working on that with the city. I'm not the city, but with the health department, just trying to get those things in order to make it work.
Okay, got it.
Just a question.
Yeah, Alder Scannell?
Do you have any timeline that you're aware of when that can be?
I feel like in the next 30 days, I should have, because I still have to get equipment and everything like that in order to, like fully, make the kitchen like a restaurant versus what I was gonna use it for a base only at first. So now I have to make it a restaurant and buy equipment and everything. So I was trying to give it about 30 days.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Any other questions or comments? All right. Thanks so much for your testimony. Appreciate it. Motion to close floor made by Alder Steuer. Is there a second? Second by Alder Scannell. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The floor is closed. Alder Steuer?
Thank you, Mayor. Maybe this is for our attorney, but as far as the area, South Broadway, is that part of the moratorium area? I thought that east side, west side, I thought it, okay, I just need a clarification.
Yeah, Attorney Bungert?
Yes, I believe the location is in the Broadway moratorium.
Oh, it is, okay.
Yes. So restaurants are exempt from the moratorium provisions, meaning if you're serving food.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments or questions? Alder Johnson, then Alder Morgan.
Just a question for staff. This was obviously recommended for denial. Is it because the plan did not originally include food? So that's the only reason?
Alder Scannell.
It didn't meet the requirements of the moratorium.
Okay. And it sounds like what we're hearing from the applicant, that she's working to change that. So rather than deny this, perhaps we could hold it?
Hold it or send it back.
What are the laws or regulations, I guess, around the timing, if you issue a liquor license, how long it can be in sort of provisional mode, right, versus, because once you grant it, don't they have like 60 days? And I'm looking to Clerk Jeffries, so they have 60 days before they need to open?
Yeah, so that is accurate. When someone is granted a license from the council, there are 60 days for us to issue it, and the issuance relies on making sure that there's no inspection issues, making sure that there are no outstanding liquor bills. But provisional is different. So essentially, when someone applies for a provisional license, there are some categories which require, basically bound that provisional application. And really, when you get a provisional, essentially, in this situation, something more akin would be that the person was awaiting approval from council in order for them to get a license. So provisional is really just, here is your license, you're just waiting for the final approval from council. Everything else is ready to go.
Sure, understood. Okay, and we've done this in the past where perhaps someone ran up against a deadline and they would have the ability to appeal to council for, say, a 30-day extension, right? We've done that before. In fact, I think we did it even with the current license holder.
That
on
is accurate.
property. Yeah.
Just real quick,
Yep.
Alder, Attorney Bungert?
Just additional clarification, that kind of window between the granting of the license and issuance is only predicated on administrative items that need to be fulfilled. So not anything dealing with the plan for the business or the structure of the establishment itself. That typically is sussed out and finalized at the time that the license is actually granted. So when we hold issuance of a license, it's not because they're not yet complying as a restaurant and therefore run contrary to the moratorium. It's because that they haven't gone through all of their inspections, or there's fees that still need to be paid, or some other kind of administrative items that have to be checked off a list before the license is actually handed over.
Okay, thank you.
Anything further, Alder Johnson?
No.
Okay. Alder Morgan?
Yes, the reason that our committee, we denied this mainly had to do with their plan, they told us, was to run the food out of a food truck and then carry it into the bar. which is prohibited, we were told, by law enforcement. And then also, they weren't sure on what portion would be alcohol and stuff, so we advised them to see if they could figure out a way to possibly get it where it was the 51% food that might fit into the Broadway moratorium. So I'm wondering, I think, seeing nods on the heads of a couple other committee members here, if we could, is there some way we could possibly have this sent back to our Protection Policy Committee? Maybe the meeting around the 23rd would give her over 30 days to see if they could, in fact, find a way to serve food from a kitchen in this building and to bring it under the rules of our Broadway moratorium without jeopardizing them getting their license.
Right. Would you like to make that motion?
I would like to make a motion that we would send this back to the Protection and Policy to be heard possibly at the 23rd of October meeting.
All right, Alder Morgan refers this item back to the committee. That was seconded by Alder Stevens. Alder Campbell on that?
I just had a question. You know, back when I was in the business, I had to have food. I'm just looking for maybe how it's changed with the food trucks and such. So, as I understand this right, a food truck will allow, I mean, forget the moratorium period. I mean, we're talking about, I can't believe that the Brown County Health Department would allow that to happen. As much as I want to see them do business, it's a safety and a health issue, not a doubt, not a doubt. It's a really gray area.
Point of information?
Well, I'm asking, is this legal? Or is this passed through moratorium or not? I guess I'm trying to just get clarification on the rules today. So I just, let me finish it once. So I would think if the moratorium says that, or even if it wasn't a moratorium, I would think that it would have to be done inside the building for safety and health concerns. That's just my question.
Sure, so food trucks are regulated separately, and they do have to be licensed by the Brown County Health Department, and additionally have to have a license in the city to operate in the city. What we're talking about here is our moratoriums in certain areas of the city. The intention of the councils back then and currently that are following the resolutions that set them forth is to prevent standalone taverns, right? Or the increase in the number of them in a particular concentrated area. So a standalone tavern is just straight alcohol service, no type of food whatsoever. And the exemption from those moratoriums in, increasing the number of these types of establishments is so long as you're serving food and you're operating as a restaurant and it's not just a straight standalone tavern, it's exempt from the provisions. So having a food truck and having people bring food into a bar, so long as it's not in a moratorium, it's a separate review. So I think you're mixing the two together when
I'm trying to
they're
figure it out,
standalone.
right.
Yes, sure.
Not just
So
to
that has
pick
no
a side
impact
here,
on
just
this.
trying to understand
Right,
it.
that has no impact on this. The food trucks can operate in the city, and they do have to be licensed by the health department, just like a brick and mortar restaurant would be.
And then just one other question.
Mhm.
This is their food truck? Or-
I don't know. I don't know if
I
it's
guess-
one that they're partnering with.
I mean, I
Either
could
way,
see the getting
right.
going and getting it
I
going.
don't know,
None
but-
of this has to do with.
I'm trying to understand it.
But it's got
Alder
nothing to
Scannell.
do
I
with-
believe it needs to be
Alder
sent back
Scannell-
to
Alder
the
Scannell,
committee.
state your point of order.
The point of order is,
Point of order is quick.
it's only strictly
Button it.
on the moratorium. It has nothing to do with the food truck. If you're curious about that, well and good, but it's not a point of business right now. You can find out afterwards. This was denied strictly on the moratorium. It has nothing else to do with food trucks.
Thank you, Alder. So there's a motion to refer back that was made by Alder Morgan, that was seconded by Alder Stevens.
Just point of information yet.
Yeah, Alder Johnson.
And I think perhaps Alder Campbell, this may clear this up. So my understanding, at least from what Alder Morgan said, is that the food truck sales don't count towards the restaurant sales. And that's the purpose of the delay, so that they can have time to figure out how to improve the kitchen to generate restaurant sales in-house. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just trying to get.
No, yeah. And I think that piece maybe hopefully clarifies that. Just one other question, though, Mayor, that I do have for staff. When it comes to the Broadway moratorium, is that one different than the other moratoriums by charter ordinance? And what I mean specifically by that, the other moratoriums, I believe we can override with 2/3 vote. Is this one different?
Oh, so this one is set by resolution, so technically it's discretionary.
Okay,
I think you're thinking of the Fort Howard moratorium.
Yes, yes.
Which is set by charter ordinance, and that's
okay, so
set in
this,
stone.
and the Fort Howard one does not apply here. This is just
No,
the
because
Broadway
this one is
moratorium.
located, right, it's based on boundaries within certain
So-
areas.
so in
this one
theory-
is the Broadway moratorium was set by resolution.
Okay, so in theory, right now, council with 2/3 vote could approve this. I'm not suggesting we do that. I do like the
Correct.
motion because it sounds like more work's got to be done. But just so
Correct.
that we're all clear on procedure, that is a
Yes.
possibility. Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
yes.
Thanks, Alder. All right, we have a motion to refer back. All in favor will say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and that item is referred back to committee. On to O, report of the Protection and Policy Committee granting operator licenses. Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Johnson. Any abstentions or names to be handled separately? Seeing none, all in favor will say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That report has been approved. Report of the Plan Commission. Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell. Seconded by Alder Johnson. Items here to be handled separately? Item 3. Any others? Hearing none others, all in favor of approving the remainder of that report, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The report has been approved with the exception of item 3. Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell. Seconded by Alder Hutchison. Item was pulled by Alder Johnson. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor. I had a conversation with Director Cheryl Rainier-Wig, and I guess sort of the concern that I had is sometimes when we vacate streets, sometimes we regret it. And I'm thinking about the possible future redevelopment of that coal pile site and just wanting to make sure that we're kind of keeping our options open if we ever need to have access back in there. Now, my understanding is there are some easement and utility challenges on that site, but we also don't have a developer who's lined up wanting to develop on, so for those not familiar, we have a street and then we have a parcel on each side of it. Right now, the city does. So the idea is vacating this little nub of a street would allow one parcel. We don't have a developer lined up that needs that right now. We might want to consider an alternative use in this future. So my suggestion would be that, and I would make this motion to table this item. And if a developer ever comes along, well, then we just pull it off the table and then we're ready to act on it right away so that it won't hold up that development. But this just keeps, that way we don't ever have to make a decision to undo the street vacation.
Thanks, Alder. Just a question on procedurally, does that make sense for the council to table this item if the intent is to have the option to bring it up at the appropriate time?
You could do that, but procedurally, you could also deny, and it could just be brought up again.
But is your intention to sort of keep this at the council, so it doesn't have to go through the plan
Right.
commission and then back to council?
Correct.
Mayor, I think Assistant City Attorney
Yeah. Attorney
Mather
Mather.
has something to add.
Thanks. So just to clarify the council, or the procedure for street vacations, regardless of if it comes back up, there has to be a 40-day window between when it comes up and then when there's a public hearing a second time, and that's the time that the resolution vacating the street can actually be passed. So even if you tabled it, if we waited like even a couple months, the law department's recommendation would still be to introduce it and then wait 40 days and do a public hearing again to make sure that we're meeting those statutory requirements for the procedure for street vacations.
Sure, okay, and I appreciate that explanation, that's helpful, didn't consider that. Director Rainier-Wig, because, correct me if I'm wrong, but in our conversation you mentioned that if we vacate this, there are some utility issues here that would likely result in us incurring a direct expense right now.
If we had to do that, there is some significant utility work.
Right,
that
and we don't.
would have to be done.
Yeah, and without a development, I'm
Correct.
inclined to not want to do that work right now. So
Right.
do you have any opposition if we just receive and place on file right now?
No, with the fact that at some point when we demolish that building that
Mhm.
the RDA owns now, we'll want to combine that site, and we'll want to do an RFP.
Right.
So we'll bring it back at that point then and ask for that vacation.
Yeah, and that's the part that, when we talked, I just wanted to be clear. If a developer comes along and says, I want to put these sites together, absolutely don't want to stand in the way of that, but I
Right.
want to protect an option too.
Yep,
So-
absolutely.
And not spend money we don't have to spend right now.
Correct.
So, okay, so I would make a motion to deny.
Alder Johnson makes a motion to deny, seconded by Alder Scannell. Any further commentary? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That item has been denied. Report of the Finance Committee. Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Stevens. Items here to be handled separately. Seeing none, all in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That report has been approved. Report of the Park Committee.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve, made by Alder Scannell. Is there a second? Seconded by Alder Stevens. Items here to be handled separately. Number two, any others? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the remainder of that agenda will signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The report of the Park Committee has been approved with the exception of item 2. Is there a motion there?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Stoyer. Item was pulled by Alder Campbell. Your wishes there?
Wished by a neighbor of Sullivan Park is to bring it, hold it over to council so he can have input in it. He didn't have proper notification of it, so referring it back to committee.
So your motion is to refer this item back?
Yes.
Is there a second for that?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Scannell. Comments on that referral motion? Seeing none?
Just one question.
Alder Johnson?
Director Ditchite, does this impact the timing of anything related to this?
No, it does not. I would
Okay.
support
Great.
that motion.
Thanks.
All right, all in favor of referral back will signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and that item has been referred back to the Park Committee. Report of the, excuse me, report of the Personnel Committee. Motion to approve made by Alder Stevens. Seconded by Alder Johnson. Items here to be handled separately. Hearing none, all in favor will signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That report has been approved. Public Arts.
Move to approve. Second.
Motion to approve made by Alder Scannell, seconded by Alder Johnson. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That report has been approved. TB&P.
Move to approve.
Motion to approve made by Alder Stevens,
Second.
seconded by Alder Scannell. Items here to be handled separately. Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. That report has been approved. Next is informational items, building report and municipal court report for August 2023. Those are in the packet. Committee of the Whole.
Motion to go into closed session?
Alder Johnson makes a motion to go into closed session. That was seconded by Alder Scannell. Alder Johnson, you want to read the language?
Council may convene in closed session pursuant to Section 19.85 subsection 1 subsection G Wisconsin statute for the purpose of conferring with legal counsel for the governmental body who is rendering oral or written advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to litigation in which it is likely to become involved. Council will thereafter reconvene in open session pursuant to Section 19.85 subsection 2 Wisconsin statute to take action on items discussed in closed session if appropriate and to consider the remainder of the agenda.
Thank you, Alder. Any comments on that?
We have a 5-minute recess before.
Absolutely. And with that, we will use the board.
May vote.
All right, and that is a unanimous vote. We are moving into closed session. Yeah. Call the council back to order. And Alder Scannell makes a motion to return to regular order of business. Is there a second? Seconded by Alder Campbell. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it, and we are back in regular order of business. On to resolutions.
Motion to suspend rules.
Motion to suspend the rules, take up these items with one roll call vote. That was made by Alder Johnson, seconded by Alder Scannell. All in favor? Signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The rules are suspended.
Alder Scannell seconds
Alder Johnson makes a motion to adopt those resolutions. Scannell seconds. Any discussion? We'll use the board.
You may vote. Are you seeing the vote? No? Oh, sorry, there we go, okay, now you can vote. All righty, and you may display.
And those resolutions are adopted unanimously. Petitions and communications. Adjournment. Motion to adjourn made by Alder Johnson, seconded by Alder Stevens. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. We're adjourned. Thanks, everyone.